Today we are trying out another amp sim. This is the JST, the Joey Sturgis Toneforge Jeff Loomis amp. Alright, so you heard a little glimpse of that on the 7-string guitar, and I did that first because, well, it's, Jeff Loomis. It's based on Jeff Loomis, and of course he's known for his 7-string skills. And look, I admire Jeff Loomis a lot. He's one of my favorite guitar players. I know probably about it. You guys know I grew up with the older Metallica and the Joe Satriani, but I remember hearing Jeff Loomis. I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but hang tight with me here. I remember hearing Jeff Loomis for the first time in Nevermore. I didn't listen to Nevermore in my early years, but when I first heard them, I'm like, whoa, I was just blown away. So I started following him, and of course, he did a stint with Arch Enemy, which I'm a big Arch Enemy fan, and of course he's done some solo stuff as well. In any case, though, I figured, hey, if it's got Jeff's name on it, then it's got to be great. Now, we're going to dig into this amp sim a little bit. I want to share some individual tones with you, and of course, I'm going to let you hear it in the full mix with a 6-string guitar as well, because I probably play 6-string a little more than 7, so we'll hear how that sounds as well. Before we hear the individual tones, let's take a quick peek inside the interface here. So already you can see we have 3 amplifiers. We have a clean amp, we also have a rhythm amplifier, which gives you some really nice tight metal tones, and then we've got the lead amplifier here as well. And in my opinion, the lead amplifier has a bit more mid-rangey type of sound than the rhythm amplifier does. So first, let's take a look at all the effects and so forth and the cabs and all that come with the amplifier here. So if we start towards the bottom here, you see these little boxes down here. If we click on the first box, here's our effects that go into the amplifier, into the input here. So you've got a compressor and an overdrive, and then you can click on either one of these and modify the settings here. Then if we go right next to the amplifiers, we're right here for the amps. If we go to the right of that, here is where all of our cabinets are. Now, you've got the JST match cab. I think this sounds phenomenal, actually. You don't have to touch anything. You're not moving mics around or anything like that. And you can put this on single and just use that one cabinet, or you can use 2 cabinets. So on that note, you've got some other options here. If you click here, you've got the JST Classic 412 cab, and that allows you to use 4 different microphones for that. You can also use some of the Bogren digital impulse responses. We've got those options, and of course you can use your own third-party impulse responses as well. Again, I think the JST match cab sounds really good, and for the metal, some of the metal stuff you heard in the full mix, I actually paired that with, what did I pair that with? I'm on the clean setting that I used here. I think I paired that with the JST Classic with the 57 off axis. So that gave me a really cool tone. Now to the right of that, we also have our effects. So here we've got a delay, the Echo Man, and we also have the Skybox reverb. So let's click on this reverb because this is pretty cool. And actually, for the ambient sound you heard in the full mix, that's actually one of the presets. You can see it on the screen here. It's called Creepy Ambient Clean. You've got a ton of options, a ton of really cool effects with this one pedal here called Skybox. This is on like their blood setting for the creepy ambient clean, which I thought was pretty cool. So you've got a ton of options though. You got the shimmer, which sounds really good for that ambient feel, and just regular reverb too if you want that. So a lot of options there. You also have a delay. I think their delay sounds great, especially for leads. That's typically what I'll use delays on. So if we head over to the right of that, next box over, you've got an EQ. That gives you a lot of tone shaping options as well. Lastly, and I didn't touch this at all, you've got the JST dynamics with the crossover frequency and intensity and output, all that good stuff. So some more tone shaping if you want to go that far into it. But real quick, if we go back to the amplifiers here, this is the clean tone I was using here. You can see you've got gain, clarity, you've got your EQ and presence and so forth. Then we head over to the rhythm. Again, this gives you some really nice tight rhythm tones in my opinion. You've got your master, presence, your basic EQ, and your gain. Now, cool thing on the rhythm channel is you can choose between the EL34 and 6L6 tubes right here. So that's pretty cool. Now, one last channel here, or one last amplifier rather, the lead. Pretty much the same thing. You don't have the choice between the tubes here, but you do have this extra what's called shred setting, and that'll make it get pretty nasty. All right, it's time to hear a few tones by themselves, and this is going to be kind of cool. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to play the 7-string guitar. We're going to switch back and forth between the rhythm and the lead amplifiers so you can hear the difference between the two. Alright, now let's hear another full mix, but this time with a 6-string guitar. And there are actually a couple of reasons I'm going to share after the full mix as to why I wanted you to hear this particular guitar. And we'll talk a little bit more about who this amp sim might be perfect for and maybe who it might not be for. Alright, so we heard two guitars in the full mix. One was this 7-string here, the original mix you heard in the beginning, the E2 Horizon, ESP E2 Horizon FR7, and then I also wanted to let you hear it with the Ibanez Prestige RG1570. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, well, they're both in standard tuning, but of course having that B string, we've got some lower notes, and this amplifier was made for Jeff Loomis. I mean, Jeff had a hand in creating this thing. Well, he's primarily a 7-string player, and so that might satisfy those of you who may not play a 7-string, but you do down tune your guitars. So of course we want to hear it with a 7-string here. This 7-string also has active pickups, which brings me to why I wanted you to hear just a regular 6-string guitar in standard tuning with passive pickups. I wanted to put that to the test. I thought they both sounded great in the full mix. I'd love to know your comments as well on that, but I just thought I'd give you both of these in the full mix here with this amplifier, the JST Toneforge Jeff Loomis. Now, I'm not sponsored by JST. You guys know I just recently dove down the rabbit hole of amp sims. I haven't played through many amp sims over the past probably year or so, so I just been kind of getting out there and seeing what's out there. There are some new ones and some old ones that have been upgraded and so forth. So I'm just trying them out and just sharing the journey with you on YouTube here. So hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. But I would say this amp sim, the JST Toneforge Jeff Loomis, it can cover really any subgenre of metal music, from classic heavy metal to thrash metal, I'd say even hard rock, all the way to any type of extreme metal or downtuned metal or 7/8 string, whatever. I think this amp sim will hold up just fine. Now, it might not be for you though if you're one of those that you need an amp sim that has the package of 200 plus amps and an array of effects and that sort of thing. Maybe you're playing different styles other than rock or metal, so you need all these other features. The issue a lot of times with the amp sim companies that try to fulfill the entire spectrum of music, they typically fall short when it comes to metal. So my opinion, I feel like, and I know some of you probably feel that way too, but I feel like that if you're gonna make something specific for metal, that can be a little bit better because you're just focused on that one genre. And I think they did a great job. I think JST, Joey Sturgis, did a great job in creating this Jeff Loomis amp. And I believe he had input, of course, from Jeff Loomis, but I believe also from Jens Bogren. Now, you saw my video on the Bogren AmpKnob, the AmpKnob Trivium amp sim. I put that out, I think, about a week or so ago, so go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. If you have the Toneforge Jeff Loomis amplifier, if you've ever played through the trial version of it or anything, I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave those in the comments. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, until next time, keep it metal and keep playing music.